So it looked like Chennedy Carter is struggling to find a team after she assaulted Caitlin Clark.
Can a single push truly terminate Chennedy Carter's career? It potentially might. One moment of lapse. Control has become the most controversial athlete in women's basketball, having been released by her fourth WNBA team, with no other teams wanting to sign her despite her evident talent. The repercussions have been catastrophic for Angel. Once a close associate of Carter, unfollowed her on social media, a contemporary equivalent of rejecting someone. Furthermore, her teammates urged management to sever ties with her prior to the next season. When those who share your locker room desire your departure, it signifies a severe situation, and their request was fulfilled.
Exactly. Chennedy Carter WNBA career looked like it could be over, guys, because the Chicago Sky is releasing her. They don't want nothing for her. They want her to go about her business.
Indeed, free agency is approaching its conclusion, and although Angel Reese is now excelling in China, no WNBA team is interested in her. Let us reflect on how Chennedy Carter squandered her entire WNBA career in just a minute.
Now, we all remember what happened on that fateful day last year, bro, when she took it upon herself to put her filthy thug hands on WNBA player Caitlin Clark. I knew then her future was not going to be very bright, bro.
Let us observe precisely what transpired on that momentous day between the Chicago Sky and the Indiana Fever. What commenced as a routine game swiftly devolved into a career-defining disaster for Carter. The tension escalated from the initial tip-off as both teams engaged in a fierce contest, with Caitlin Clark asserting her dominance throughout the first quarter, exemplifying why she has become the emblematic figure of the WNBA. With each successful play, Carter's frustration became increasingly palpable.
Shortly before that moment, what appears to be an exchange of words between the two on the other end of the court.
By the second quarter, Carter's aggravation was written all over her stiff shoulders, clenched jaw, and narrowed eyes struggling to contain Clark on defense. She was frequently beaten off the dribble and caught out of position, her struggles unfolding on national television. The breaking point came midway through the third quarter when Clark drained a deep three right over Carter's outstretched hand, sealing a night of visible frustration and embarrassment. Then came that defining split-second. Carter delivered a hard, deliberate shove to Clark, while reportedly calling her the B word.
And Clark. I mean, that's clearly a foul, which was called. The question is, will they call it unnecessary? Chennedy Carter.
This wasn't a basketball play or competitive moment. It was a complete breakdown of professional conduct that silenced the venue. The crowd's reaction transformed immediately. The ambient gang noise vanished, replaced by audible gasps that echoed throughout the building like a wave. Then came the booing, not scattered disapproval, but a unified wall of sound from fans across the arena, their hands raised in disbelief at what they'd witnessed.
Necessary. That was a cheap shot.
It was a cheap shot.
Clark's face displayed utter confusion. Rather than rage, her look seemed to ask, "What was that for?" She later told reporters, "I felt the shove, and I just thought, wow, really?" Perfectly capturing her disbelief.
Expecting it, but I think it's just like, just respond, come down, let your play do the talking. You know, it is what it is, I guess. I don't know.
A courtside scout delivered the most damning assessment. I've never seen anything like it. It wasn't just the push, it was the energy behind it. That's not what we want in this league. The statement underscored why this momentary lapse marked career suicide for Carter.
I knew then her future was not going to be very bright, bro. Now, a lot of people was kind of surprised by this. I'm not, because I know, you know what I'm saying? What she did to Caitlin Clark was completely unnecessary. And I'm here to tell you guys, she's living with that decision today because she is without a job.
The incident indicates much more than a shove. It undermined the WNBA's tireless efforts to grow its audience at a crucial time. The widely circulated footage clearly showed both the foul and the unsportsmanlike conduct, leaving multiple WNBA scouts and executives visibly disgusted by this breach of professional standards that every player is expected to uphold.
And people was wondering on Twitter and X, why come she haven't found the team? I'm here to tell you, this ain't rocket science why she ain't found the team. I don't know why people be so surprised. Oh my God.
That shove caught on camera was bad enough, but what if I told you Carter's biggest mistake wasn't even the physical contact with Clark? When reporters gave her the perfect chance to save her career, she chose to dig herself into an even deeper hole, and it all happened with cameras rolling, capturing every moment of her career suicide in real time.
She turned to you a little bit after the FIBA
I ain't
score.
answering no Caitlin Clark questions.
Did she say anything to you?
I don't know what she said.
What'd you say to her?
I didn't say anything. That's enough.
You know what separates a forgivable mistake from a career-ending one? It's how you respond afterward. Carter had the easiest way to redemption. Sitting right in front of her, a simple "I lost my calm" would have changed everything. Instead, she chose the path of self-destruction in that post-game interview.
Do you have any regrets on how it happened and everything that's happened since then?
I don't have any regrets with anything. I'm going to compete and play 100% hard no matter who it is, like I said, or who we're playing. No, I don't have any regrets.
When reporters approached her directly about the incident, Carter's response left jaws on the floor. There was no sign of culpability, simply cold denial, as if millions of viewers hadn't just observed what happened. Her body language revealed an even more damaging story: arms crossed, eyes rolling, the classic position of someone who believes they're the victim rather than the aggressor.
Posting, "I love the hate more than the love. I'd rather you hate me than love me."
The league was practically begging her to show some remorse. Fans were waiting, her team was hoping. But instead of taking that lifeline, Carter doubled down hard. She took to social media and started firing back at critics, turning what could have been a one-day story into a full-blown career crisis. One WNBA official stated it brutally: "We wouldn't touch her with a 10-foot pole. It's not the push, it's the attitude thereafter that shows who she really is." And that's the thing most people don't understand about this situation. Teams weren't just assessing her for the shove, they were using her response as a window into her character. They didn't like what they saw.
Caitlin Clark, and then she refused to own up to what she did. What organization want to deal with that?
Think about all the players who've made mistakes on court before most of them immediately own and apologize, take the fine or suspension, and move on. But Carter's pride wouldn't let her say those simple words that could have salvaged everything. Instead, she transformed what could have been a minor footnote in her career into the headline that now defines her. What makes this situation even worse is how her response confirmed what teams were already whispering about behind closed doors. That denial wasn't just about saving face, it revealed deeper character issues that had been bubbling beneath the surface. Teams don't just cut talented players for one mistake, but they absolutely will show you the door when they see a pattern of problematic behavior with no signs of change.
And according to multiple sources, the Sky decision to not offer her is their leading scorer is making a big impact onto why. Now, I'm here to tell you guys, we already know why, bro.
Teams cutting ties with talented players happens when patterns emerge, and Carter's pattern spans across 4 different franchises. Ever wonder why a player averaging double-digit points keeps bouncing from team to team? The truth about what her Sky teammates were saying behind her back reveals a much deeper problem than just one push incident. While everyone was focused on the Caitlin Clark confrontation, Carter's troubles with teammates were already reaching a boiling point.
Well, what happened to the culture? Who torched the culture? Who's selfish on the team that would cause the culture to melt down?
Multiple sources from inside the Chicago Sky confirmed that several players were completely done with her, like a cancer eating away at the core of team unity. Carter's behavior created an atmosphere where teammates actively campaigned to management, pushing them to remove her from the roster before the next season even began.
The only coach in the league that wanted to give her a third chance was fired after 1 year. She's going nowhere as no team wants the cancer in the locker room. Okay, so that raises a great question. Is anybody going to want her? Maybe that's the best question.
This kind of teammate rebellion reveals deep-rooted issues throughout her WNBA career. Her time with the Atlanta Dream shows the seriousness of her locker room problems during that period. She reportedly got into a violent altercation with teammate Courtney Williams that escalated drastically. Reports say Carter genuinely wanted to physically fight Williams after being called out for not supporting her teammates during games. Who attempts to attack their own teammates.
To fight Courtney Williams, like physically fight Courtney Williams, who backed away from this and was like, no way. So there was no actual physical altercation that happened. But because of that, the Atlanta Dream did suspend her in the middle of the sophomore season basically saying she was a detriment to the team and the team culture.
The Atlanta Dream responded decisively. They suspended Carter mid-season, taking the extraordinary step of publicly labeling her a detriment to the team culture of its management. Speak for this player as toxic. They eventually traded her to the Sparks, who later released her for similar attitude problems.
She ended up playing a lot less minutes there, and the reasoning that the Sparks were saying that she was playing less minutes was because of poor conduct, and that was the 2022 season. Then in the 2023 season, the Sparks just decided to release her in the offseason. However, none of the teams were willing to pick her up after that, so she ends up going over to Turkey, playing in Turkey, of which she balled out. So then the W team started looking at her again and being like, maybe we should give this person another chance.
By the time Carter reached Chicago, her reputation preceded her. The Sky gave her another chance, but the same destructive patterns quickly emerged when Angel Reese, previously considered Carter's closest ally on the team, publicly unfollowed her after the push incident. It confirmed what insiders were saying, as one Sky coach privately admitted. She poisoned the locker room atmosphere from day one. Players couldn't stand to be around her. The most damning evidence, an insider from the Sky organization revealed the Sky didn't just bench Carter, they refused to even offer her a qualifying contract. They said, "We'd rather have no one than have her." Think about how serious a locker room problem has to be for a club to prefer having no substitute rather than keeping its leading scorer.
When Tyler Marsh did the press conference, he talked about Angel Reese. He talked about Cardoso, who I think is going to be a star in the WNBA. But he did not really mention Chennedy Carter at all, and that raised a lot of eyebrows.
When you look at a franchise letting their leading scorer walk away without any compensation in return, that's when you know something catastrophic is happening behind the scenes. Teams tolerate a lot from players who produce on the court, but when they willingly give up talent with no return, it speaks volumes about how unbearable the situation had become.
Certainly, there's real attitude issues. If I was a team, I mean, she can score with the lights out. I mean, she's pure offense, a pure shooting guard, scoring guard, instant offense. But if you're a team, do you really want her on the team? I wouldn't.
Beyond the locker room drama, Carter committed the greatest WNBA career sin. She went after the one player who's utterly altering the league's economic future. As Clark steps on the field, attendance skyrockets, TV ratings surge, and jersey sales jump 500%. So tell me, what team wants to sign the athlete who pushed that meal ticket to the ground?
Since the start of the regular season, sales of WNBA merchandise are up over 500% versus the same period last year, with fan gear sales over the first half of the season at the highest in league history. Player-specific merchandise, including jerseys and t-shirts, have seen a staggering 1,000% increase in sales. Additionally, sales of league-specific merchandise like the popular orange WNBA hoodie are also up 200%. The top-selling WNBA player merch: Caitlin Clark, #1 in jersey sales, Angel Reese 2, Sabrina 3.
The push wasn't just a temporary error in judgment, it was an attack on the WNBA's entire business model. Look at what's happening with Caitlin Clark. She's transforming the economic landscape of women's basketball. The stats are absolutely mind-blowing.
WNBA Network set ratings records this season, all Caitlin Clark. I mean, there's 2 million viewed games in there. 23 WNBA games drew more than 1 million viewers. Clark played in 20 of them. I mean, is the math starting to math for you, or what?
Clark is bringing an avalanche of revenue to the table. The Indiana Fever has had almost 200,000 additional spectators attending games when she plays. That's 200,000 extra paying customers filling arenas that used to have vacant seats. Overall attendance has climbed to 600,000 for the season, shattering previous records and pumping millions into the league's ecology.
Fever will have over 600,000 fans in attendance total this year, and the second best to that was in 1999 with the Washington Mystics at just over 400,000. So the Fever are going to account for over 200,000 more fans this year to their games than any other team. Not only this year in 2024, you can see the Liberty are third on this list, and the Liberty are third, fourth, and fifth on this list, but those are the only two teams that are in 2024.
Because ticket sales are just the beginning, one-ball merchandise sales have soared since Clark arrived, jumping more than 500% compared to last season. Her jerseys vanished from stores faster than they can be restocked. This directly affects every player's potential profits through revenue sharing and future salary caps. The timing is key right now. The WNBA is negotiating new television rights, deals potentially worth billions. Clark's massive viewing growth provides the league unprecedented influence in these talks. Better ratings signify bigger deals, which lead to better compensation for every athlete.
Is when Caitlin Clark plays on Ion, they get more viewers. They get more viewers than when the Liberty or the Aces play on ABC, play on ESPN. And when Caitlin plays on those networks, you're looking sometimes at 2 million. You're looking at 2 mil plus. Like, Caitlin Clark draws in 1 million viewers to Ion.
Thus, when Carter shoved Clark to the ground, she virtually cut the neck of the golden goose, laying eggs for the whole league. One front office executive stated it frankly: in a league where every dollar matters, why would we sign someone who practically attacked our biggest revenue driver? It's bad business. Sources close to the WNBA reveal that league officials are now discussing stricter disciplinary measures specifically designed to protect star players following this incident. They recognize that protecting their valuable assets isn't just about player safety, it's about protecting their financial future. The business implications for Carter are devastating. Teams are assessing the financial risk of signing someone who assaulted the face of women's basketball. What sponsor wants to associate with the player who shoved Caitlin Clark? What franchise wants to alienate new fans streaming into stadia?
Games. They're all Indiana Fever games. This is how the networks are going to get their money back. It is massive. The numbers are massive for Caitlin Clark, not anyone else. And again, people say, well, we got to get exposure for the other players to grow the league. Okay, first of all, they did have that for 25, 28 years. And they're going to get it here. Every game you see here with Caitlin Clark, they played another team. That team got in front of all those viewers. I don't know why this is so difficult to understand.
Clark isn't just playing basketball, she's transforming the entire financial landscape of the WNBA. Her impact extends beyond impressive stats to produce better contracts and sponsorship opportunities for everyone in this new economic reality. Carter's actions aren't a simple on-court altercation. They're a direct threat to the league's growth trajectory.
Caitlin Clark is the golden goose. She's the cash cow. And wherever she goes, ratings follow. The WNBA draft, the doubleheader to open the NBA season. Ratings. I'm going to remind y'all that in the 28-year history of the WNBA, only 9 players in the league's history have eclipsed on-court earnings of $1 million.
So what does this all mean for Chennedy Carter? A single 60-second meltdown has transformed her from promising star to league liability, with her WNBA future now hanging by a thread. Is talent alone enough? When the business risk seems so high, industry insiders and former players are delivering a unanimous verdict. Despite her game-changing abilities on the court, Carter's off-court difficulties and inability to accept responsibility make her too dangerous an investment. The basketball calculation has become a business decision. Could you see any team taking another chance on her? Is there a path to redemption? Or did that split-second decision effectively end what should have been a standout career? Share your thoughts below on whether Carter can overcome this defining moment. And join us next week as we explore how other athletes have navigated similar careering controversies.